When Kīlauea unleashed a river of fire, they were caught. With temperatures hot enough to melt solid rock and there itself turning to poison, survival was measured in seconds. This is the story of the split-second decisions that meant the difference between life and a fiery death. Kīlauea. In Hawaiian, the name means spewing or much spreading. It's one of the most active volcanoes on the entire planet, a place of primal creation and absolutely breathtaking beauty. Millions of people are drawn to its slopes, hoping to witness the raw power of the earth building new land right before their eyes. They come for a guided tour, a scenic hike, a volcano vacation. But for some, that awe turns to pure terror. They get too close, they stay too long, or they're simply in the wrong place at the wrong time when the volcano awakens. Suddenly, they find themselves in a real-life disaster movie, fighting for their lives against a truly unstoppable force of nature. Two stories show the harrowing reality of what happens when a Kīlauea lava flood traps you. One is about a man who thought he knew the volcano, who then had to watch as it swallowed his entire world. The other, a tourist who went for a hike and found himself lost in an alien landscape of razor-sharp rock and toxic fumes, completely and utterly alone. Their ordeals force us to ask, when the ground itself turns against you, can you really survive? Section 1. The Lure and the Unraveling. To understand how a paradise vacation becomes a desperate fight for survival, you first have to understand the volcano itself. Now, Kīlauea isn't like the steep cone-shaped volcanoes you see in the movies. It's a shield volcano, built up over hundreds of thousands of years by fluid lava flows that spread out over huge distances. Think of it less like a mountain and more like a massive, gently sloping dome that just covers the land. Its eruptions are often effusive, meaning lava flows out instead of exploding violently. But don't let that fool you. That doesn't make it safe. The real danger is its unpredictability and its sheer, mind-boggling scale. On April 30th, 2018, the long-erupting Pu'u'o vent collapsed. Magma, the molten rock simmering beneath the Earth's crust, started moving underground, looking for a new way to the surface. For the residents of the lower Puna district, life was about to change forever. One of those residents was a man named Alan. He had lived with the volcano as his neighbor for years, and, like many locals, had a deep respect for it. But he just wasn't prepared for what was coming. On May 3rd, the ground in the Leilani Estate subdivision literally split open. Fissure after fissure started erupting, spewing lava and toxic gas into a quiet residential neighborhood. While authorities issued mandatory evacuation orders, Alan made a fateful decision. He decided to stay, hoping to protect his home. He thought he had time. He was wrong. Meanwhile, in another part of the vast volcanic park, a different kind of nightmare was unfolding. A tourist who'd come to see the magnificent landscapes got turned around during a hike. The terrain on Kīlauea is a disorienting maze of old lava flows. The ground is a treacherous field of sharp, glassy rock called clinker that can shred boots and skin in minutes. There are no landmarks, no trees, just an endless expanse of black, rippling rock under a punishing sun. With his water gone and no shelter in sight, the hiker wasn't a tourist anymore. He was a castaway on a volcanic island. And it's not just the lava that's out to get you. Kīlauea releases immense quantities of sulfur dioxide gas. When this gas mixes with the atmosphere, it creates a toxic haze called VOG, or volcanic smog. Near the vents, the concentration of this gas is dangerously high. It irritates the skin, eyes, and throat, and can cause severe respiratory problems. It's a chemical threat that comes along with the physical one. For Alan, the situation was getting desperate. The lava wasn't some distant threat, it was a river of fire flowing directly toward him. Dressed in only shorts, a t-shirt, and sandals, he made a last-ditch effort to escape with his dog. But in the panic, the dog bit him and ran off. Now injured and alone, Alan was forced to retreat, not away from the danger, but deeper into it. He found refuge in a neighbor's garage, a tiny island of safety in a sea of molten rock. The lava simply flowed around the structure, cutting him off completely. For the next week, this garage would be his prison, surrounded by a slow-moving flood of fire. He was trapped. Section 2. The Fight for Every Second. Surviving a lava flood is a minute-by-minute battle against an environment that wants you dead. For the stranded tourist, the enemy was the landscape itself. Dehydration was setting in fast. The sun beat down relentlessly, while the black lava rock absorbed and radiated the heat, creating a furnace-like oven. Every single step was a risk, with the sharp rock threatening injury and the uneven ground hiding deep cracks and unstable shelves of cooled lava. His only hope was to be seen. He started using anything reflective he could find, angling it toward the sky, just praying a tour helicopter might spot that tiny glint of light against the endless black. For Alan, the world had shrunk to the four walls of a single garage. The heat was overpowering. The air was thick with the smell of sulfur and burning everything. The sounds were a constant, terrifying symphony of hissing gas, crackling flames, and the slow, grinding movement of the lava. He watched as the unstoppable river consumed everything he knew: his neighborhood, his home, his life. The psychological toll was immense. Hope began to fade. After days of total isolation, surrounded by destruction, he realized no one was coming for him, because no one even knew he was there. In a final, desperate act, he found a can of spray paint and marked the grass outside with distress signals, a message in a bottle aimed at the sky. People always underestimate how complex a lava field really is. The surface can cool and form a dark crust, but just inches below, the rock can still be glowing hot. What looks like solid ground might just be a thin, brittle shell over a lava tube or a deep fissure. And the gases don't just blow away. Heavier gases like carbon dioxide can pool in low-lying areas, creating invisible, deadly pockets where you can't breathe. Sometimes taking a single step upslope is the difference between life and suffocation. These two men, in two different parts of the same disaster, were fighting parallel battles. One against the slow, creeping doom of a lava flow, the other against the vast, empty wilderness it had created. Their survival now depended on one single, fragile thing: being found. The tourist, weakened by days of exposure, kept flashing his signal at the sky. Alan, trapped in his metal box, could only wait and hope his painted message would be seen. Their stories had reached a critical point. Without rescue, the volcano was going to claim them. Section 3. Rescue and Reflection. After nearly 5 agonizing days, a passing tourist in a helicopter spotted a flash of light from the desolate lava fields. It was the hiker's signal. A search and rescue operation was launched, and soon a helicopter was hoisting the severely dehydrated but incredibly lucky man to safety. He had survived his ordeal in one of the most inhospitable environments on Earth. For Alan, rescue came after a week of being completely cut off from the world. A search crew flying over the devastation spotted the spray-painted marks on the grass. They found him in the garage alive, surrounded by a now cooling field of solid black lava. He had lost everything he owned, but he had survived. The 2018 Kīlauea eruption was a historic event. It lasted for months, destroying more than 700 homes and covering 13.7 square miles of land with fresh lava. It fundamentally reshaped the island's coastline and the lives of thousands of people. For the survivors, an experience like this leaves a permanent mark. Alan expressed deep regret for not evacuating sooner, a stark warning to anyone who thinks they can outsmart a volcano. The rescued tourist learned a brutal lesson about the thin line that separates adventure from tragedy. Their stories, and others like them, aren't just tales of luck. They're testaments to human resilience, but they're also powerful reminders of nature's overwhelming power. So what's the key takeaway here? In a word, respect. These volcanoes are living, breathing systems. We have monitoring tools that can tell us when the system is getting restless, which is why listening to official warnings and evacuation orders is so critical. If you visit, stay on marked trails, carry the right gear, and never, ever underestimate how quickly things can change. Kīlauea gives, and Kīlauea takes away. It creates new land, but it can also destroy everything in its path. If you find stories of survival against the odds compelling, subscribe to our channel for more content that explores the raw power of nature. And let us know in the comments, what do you think you would do in this situation? So can you survive a Kīlauea lava flood? The answer is yes. But it's a harrowing ordeal that pushes the very limits of human endurance. Survival often comes down to a handful of desperate decisions and a huge dose of luck. The stories of those who made it out alive aren't celebrations of conquering nature, but humbling tales of enduring it. They remind us that while we can visit these incredible places, we don't control them. Kīlauea was here long before us, and it will continue to shape its island home long after we're gone, a constant, powerful, and ultimately untamable force of nature.